Welcome back, gals, to another episode of The Get Up Girl. And I got my gal. You know how you got your gals, your Sex in the City gals. Well, I got my gal, Dr. Brandye Manigat. And I'm saying it right, Manigat. I want to say like
Hmm.
Manigat. Yeah. I throw in a little accent. So
Right. Put a little something on it.
a little chile on it. And she is an OBGYN. She knows her stuff and she is a pleasure coach. Ladies, gentlemen, lean in and then lean in again because she's going to help us get our feeling back, get our, maybe it hasn't left. And can we get it better? Right. So, Dr. Brandye,
Yes.
thank you for being here. You know me, I'm always like texting you. Can you be on my shows? Can you do this? And I just bought your book. And I'm like, how haven't I? So I just bought it. You're going to get my little
Hmm.
receipt. And I'm like excited to get it. And let's jump in because I'm doing all the talking and I'm so excited. Uh,
Okay.
Tell us about how you got into this, right? Like, how did
Okay.
you get into pleasure coaching? I know the story, but everybody
Hmm.
listening wants to hear.
Okay. Well, Joanna, I'm always happy to be on your show. We always have a great time when I'm here. So thank you, for all the texts and the
Appreciate
calls. Like, can
it.
I come on? Yes, I'm happy to be here. But how I got into this work was a little bit of a journey. I actually began it prior to even getting into the medical field because I was struggling with low sex drive for a long, long time in my 20s. And it was like, what is going on? I don't understand. I'm supposed to be having a good time.
Mhm.
And, I wasn't. It was hard to want to have sex. It was hard to get into the mood. And it was just like, man, what is going on? And so, I was looking for different resources. I was going to different conferences, looking online, reading different books. Like I have a whole other bookshelf with all these books about stuff because I was doing the research and trying to figure out what to do. And
Wait,
it just,
Dr. Brandye, I'm going to jump in here.
mhm.
Were you, did you have a higher libido before this or was it always low?
I don't know that it was, well, no, yes, it was higher. It was higher. However, it was in a different context because I wasn't in a long-term committed relationship. And so you know how you have the excitement because you're going to go see somebody and it's like, okay, I got this weekend and this is the weekend. And then after that, you go do your thing and you're like, whatever. It was like that. And so, I had gotten into a long-term relationship, eventually got to marriage, and it was just like, why are you touching me? Why are you talking to me? Don't what? I'm
Party of two,
tired. Leave
anyone?
me alone.
Yeah.
Right. I'm tired. Leave me alone. Stop.
And you wanted it though. Like you wanted to want it.
I wanted to want it because it was causing it was causing a lot of external tension, but inside of me, it was causing a lot of tension as well because it was just like, what is this? Am I broken? What's going on?
Looking down.
And
What's up,
right,
girl?
right. Like, well, come on, can we get it together? What are we doing? And so, I just kind of was on this journey of learning different things. And in that process, it took a long time. There was a lot of nights where, we both went to sleep crazy and just mad and anxious and all of the things. And so as things progressively got worse, it was, the relationship progressively got worse to the point that it was like, okay, we're splitting up, we're gonna, separate and eventually get divorced. And it was like, great, what do I do now? And so I began to look a little bit deeper because, I started to figure out, okay, sure, I can get my body to do this. Like I know the stuff. Get some lubricant. Do da 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 da. You can get your body to do some stuff,
But
but
your mind.
can your mind get
Mm.
into it? And that was the piece that was so missing. And so I was like, okay, how do I get my brain into this? How do I get my mind into this? How do I make this pleasurable? Because it's not supposed to be this way. Like God didn't create it to be this torture. God didn't create it so that it was just the other person getting pleasure. Like, so there's got to be a key. There's got to be a hack. There's got to be something. So I started just to look inside of myself and learn more about myself. At one point, if anybody asked me what I liked and what I wanted to do, I couldn't tell you because I was like, I don't know. I want to sleep. I've been working. I started a private practice. I had a child. I had a husband. I was trying to figure out what was going on with my mama. It was just a lot.
You're
And
like,
I was
"This is the last thing I
tired.
want to think about."
Right, right. I was just tired. And I was
Um,
like,
yeah.
I can't even think straight. I don't know
Mhm.
what I want. And then when I finally got some time, I was just like, why am I sitting here? I don't know what I want. That's not good. So I started to cultivate a curiosity about myself again and stepping into what it looked like for me to be a vibrant person. Because I was living this black and white existence. And it was just so horrible. It was just this routine of, okay, get up, go get the girl ready, get her to school, get to work, go to the hospital, come back to the clinic, finish the charts, go back to the hospital, deliver the baby, come home, sleep a little bit, wake back up because somebody else is at the hospital. And just this whole
Yeah.
routine that just went on and on and on. But nowhere in there was any time for me to just enjoy myself, to think, even just to hear myself. And so I started doing different practices to tap into that. And as I was going through my day, doing these different practices, and they weren't taking a whole lot of time because I didn't have a lot of time. Ain't nobody got time for that. But I was doing these things and I was noticing a difference. And I'm like,
Ooh.
oh,
What were you doing, Dr. Brandye? Tell us.
so different things. My one of my big things that I was doing was just journaling. Like just journaling, just writing about whatever, writing about the day, writing about my thoughts, writing about my feelings. Because I was suppressing a lot of stuff, a
Mm.
lot of resentments, bitterness, a lot of
Where'd that
stuff.
come from?
Right, right. I wonder where that came from. Just suppressing so much stuff. And so, just having that place to actually get it out on paper and get it out of my head, because I was thinking of things, but then I was trying to coach myself and like, well, that's not how that's supposed to be, and this and their intentions and da 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 da, and it was all getting all mashed up, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, okay, look, this is making me crazy. We got to write this down.
Journaling is such a
Right.
yeah,
It's an eye opener.
eye opener. Amen.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So journaling is like one of my big things. The other piece of it was just deciding that I wanted to have pleasure, like literally making a decision and saying, you know what? I want pleasure in my life. What does that look like?
Mm.
And it wasn't just sex. It was, you know, getting my
Food.
hair done,
Yes. Putting on
food,
some lipstick and like
girl,
lip dark.
yeah.
Yes.
Just some
Putting
nice
lotion
earrings.
on your body. When I put lotion in the
Yes.
morning, I'm like, I could feel
Mhm.
myself ready when I'm like
Yeah.
fast, putting on the lotion.
Mhm.
I go, Joanna, slow down,
Right,
girl.
so that
How would
right.
somebody else put lotion on your body? I'm like,
Oh, girl, that part, that part.
I'm gonna slow down. Okay.
Yes.
What are some other things of pleasure that you like?
Ah, I am a big fan of dangly earrings. So anything sparkly and dangly. So that's one of my go-tos. And then I started wearing a lot of dresses.
Uh, Girl, everybody knows
Um,
me. Yeah, dresses can change.
yeah,
Psh,
girl.
yeah.
Because I used to either have on scrubs
Mhm.
or slacks and a blouse. And it was just like, okay, look, I want to put on this dress. And I found these dresses and I was like, ooh,
Yes.
ooh. I was turning myself on. I'm
When you
like,
look good,
girl.
you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So yeah, so just I think I started to fall in love with myself.
I love
And that was the turning point. And it's like, okay, like I'm beautiful and I'm special and I deserve to have pleasure. And I started putting it in little by little, piece by piece. And so, and just continuing that. And even with my space now, like I'm redoing my bedroom, and I got some new bamboo sheets. I ordered some new pillows. It's
New
just gonna
candles,
be so right. All of the stuff, the candles, the essential oils, all of it. So,
because I think about how would I treat my house if I had a guest over? So I clean and I make
mm,
it all pleasurable.
mhm,
I'm like, but
mhm.
nobody's coming over, but I'm here. Can I make it
Right,
pleasurable
right.
for myself? So that has been a
Exactly.
journey. And I want to acknowledge
Mhm,
you, Dr. Brandye, because I have seen your arc and you are like, I'm going to say glowing and just like light coming out. And people are attracted to that. They can see it when
mhm.
all back in love with yourself. And I really love the
Yes.
pleasure part. Tell me about how the sex pleasure then came in to all of that. And where are you now?
You know, the sexual pleasure came in kind of right alongside of that. Like that was the impetus for a lot of what was happening because, you know, pain pushes you until
Until
pleasure
you're like,
pulls
you
you.
go fall off the cliff.
Right, right. Pain pushes you. So there was a lot of pain that went into this transformation.
Hey, girl,
But
we've cried many a times in front of each
girl,
other. At least I have.
girl, yes.
Yeah.
So, but no, the sexual part of it and the sexual piece of it, I think, came alongside because as I was exploring why I didn't want to have sex, I was coming up against all of these myths and all of these non-truths about sex and pleasure for women. And I'm like, that's not true. What are we doing this for? Why are we
Like
telling
what?
people
Give me
this?
an example.
So, like, just like the whole, this is just for him
Ooh.
and not for me. It's just
Where'd
for
you
my
learn that?
partner and
I
not
wa-
for me.
Did you pick
Like
that
it,
up like in, I don't know, religion or your parents or what just curious.
you know, it. I think it was just this pervasive idea because so many women were having sex that they weren't getting pleasure from. And it was just like this idea, like, yeah, 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 you ain't supposed to enjoy this. Just lay on your back, let him get his, and then go about your business. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, 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 that's not true. So those kinds of things, or thinking that if it takes too long for you to orgasm, that there's something wrong with you.
Oh, that's a good
It's
one. Let's talk
right.
about that because I had the same thought and belief. There's something
Okay.
wrong. Now it's different. And I'm like, oh, let's milk this puppy. Let's
Mm-hmm,
milk it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the guy thinks that he's not good in my experience
Mm-hmm.
because he's trying to get you off faster. And I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing
Like,
better.
what?
No
No,
longer I
like,
know you're doing better.
yeah, like take your time. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like for like from a scientific perspective, for a guy to get off, it's 5 to 7 minutes or so of stimulation.
Interesting. We'll see. I
For a
love that.
woman, right, it's
Ooh,
like
heavy lift.
11 to 20. So it's
And they
fine.
and they want us to go at the same time, so to speak,
And they
almost.
right, right,
Okay.
because there is that, you know, the fantasy is we're doing all this and then we both climax at the same
Same
time,
time.
which
Mhm.
doesn't happen
That's a
very
movie.
often.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah,
movie.
maybe
That
once
is
in
a
a while.
movie. Right. Now, maybe if we start off with a little foreplay and do some things
Yeah,
and
I
then
need
we get
20.
to it.
Let's start with
Right,
8
right.
minutes
I
for
need
me
about
first.
15, 20 minutes first, and then we jump in.
Amen.
Then maybe we can climax together. It can be fine.
Oh, that's good. Okay, what are
Mhm.
some other thoughts and beliefs that you had?
Um, you know, I actually had this belief that I didn't like sex,
Ooh,
like
okay.
at all. Like I didn't. And it, you know, it was funny because when I was with my partner, with my husband, we would try to have conversations about what was happening. And in those conversations, it would always get to this point where we were just at a deadlock. And he would be like, okay, well, it's just because I like sex and you don't. And I started to embody that, like, man, I don't even like sex. Why do we got to do this? Da, 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 da. And one morning, you know, we had attempted and it didn't go down. And I was just like, whatever, I can't do this no more. And I don't understand. And I'm like, Lord, how is it that I'm supposed to want to have more sex? And I don't like sex. I don't understand. And then it was just like this question popped in my head, like, do you like sex?
Mm.
And I'm like, do I like sex? And I thought, and I was like, yeah, I do like sex. What the hell?
What the hell? Girls, anybody out
So,
there? Touche, let us know. Okay. Not
right,
the only one,
right.
right?
And so I was like, wait a minute, I do like sex. Like, sex feels good. I enjoy having it. I was like, ooh, then why is it that I don't want it now? And I'm like, oh, the approach. That's what it is. Oh,
So your
so
partner's approach. Is that what it
mhm,
was? Okay.
I just needed a different approach. And I'm like, okay, I see where this is going.
The
Okay.
heating of the oven, so to speak.
Not even the heating of the oven. It was, okay, this is what's happening in the bedroom. I need stuff on the outside of the
Okay.
bedroom.
Let's go there.
Can we go there?
So
Like,
the
I
foreplay
need you to make
starts
love to
when?
me outside of the bedroom first, and
Oh,
then I'm happy. Let's go. Let's do it.
yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah.
so what do you mean? Like, for me, it's making reservations
Ooh,
beforehand, and I'm like, just
ooh,
that alone, gentlemen, or
mhm,
whomever
mhm,
your partner is, I'm like, "Ooh, I'm
mhm,
already
mhm.
getting a little wet," right?
Yeah,
Let's get
yeah.
real.
You
Yeah.
right, right. I mean, for me, it is words and just your
Mm,
tone and your words with me, and just being very, very sensual. But also, the words. I want you to say, "Hey, beautiful, how are
yeah,
you? Good morning."
yeah,
I need that.
yeah.
Like, don't just try and roll over on me. I can't. I'm not
You wanna
ready.
have
I
sex
don't want
tonight?
to.
Tell me this
Right.
morning that
Can
I'm
you tell
beautiful.
me in the morning that I'm beautiful when you come home? Can we do some deep kissing?
Yeah.
We don't have to. It ain't just like "Mwah," and they'll go.
Mm,
No,
mhm.
hug me, hold me. Let's talk. Let's do some things first.
So good. Okay, with your experience with your patients and your clients, what have you discovered that is like an underlining theme with women and sex?
I think first and foremost is this thought that they don't deserve pleasure,
Wow.
and I don't understand
Yeah.
why. Like, it's not even just with sex, it's just in life. It's like, we're not deserving of
Wow.
pleasure. And it's like, what? And we give so much of ourselves to everybody else, and we don't want to disappoint anybody, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and we don't want to do all the things. But it's like, ma'am,
Mhm.
can we help you pour into your own cup first,
That's
so
sexy.
that you can give of the overflow and not deplete yourself? Because that's what we're doing. We're all walking around depleted and
I
tired.
am the
Can't
give
figure
to
it out.
yourself first girl. That's what I should
Mhm.
be called as the coach. Give to yourself first coach. Is that
Yes,
a title? Because that's what I'm not
yes,
a business coach or like I'm a yeah.
right.
Give yourself first. It
Yes.
doesn't matter what you're doing, and then everything will be
Everything else will
oh,
work
we'll just
itself
fall
out.
into place, like you said, how
Mhm,
your sex life fell into place because you fell in
mhm.
love with yourself.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
because do you think, Dr. Brandye, that we wear it like a badge of honor that I don't need that? For example, I'll have a lot of clients say, I don't need to get dressed up because uh, he should love me for me. Or things of
Mhm,
that nature where it's like we wear it like a little, I don't need to do that anymore. I got him already. Who cares? Take it for what it is. Here I am now. And I'm like, but that's not who you were when you got him, or
mhm,
when what he was attracted to, or what your children are watching. Have
mhm,
you noticed
mhm.
that a lot with your clients?
I think I have, not in the sense of, okay, well, this is who I am now, but more so just out of a necessity, because we're so busy. Like, we have so much
Oh,
stuff going on, and it's like, you know what? The last thing I can think about is making the package pretty. Like, if we can just get the stuff done, that's what is most important. And making the package pretty is extra. And
and
it's like, no,
oh,
it doesn't. You don't have to take 2 hours to get ready. It's something just as simple as putting on some mascara today and seeing how you feel. Because I know for me, like, just put on mascara and a little lip gloss, I'm like,
can
oh, I'm
change.
cute.
Yeah,
What?
can change it. Yeah, go on a hike, lip gloss and
Okay.
mascara. I'm good, and the eyebrows
Right.
are done. Do you think
Mhm.
or most women, we use that card on the busy card.
Mm-hmm.
We use that card
For everything.
and we
For
buy it
everything.
from others because like, oh, she's busy. So
Right.
that's okay.
We use it and we buy it. And
Oh.
and like you said, I think even that is a badge of honor. Because if we can go around and say, oh, I'm so busy, I'm doing this, this, and that, and all the other friends around us will be like, I know, girl, because I'm busy too, and da 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 da.
You're so
And it's like
productive.
we're trying to one up each other on busyness. And it's like, no, let's not do that.
Wow,
Let's
I never
not do
heard it like that. We're trying to one up each other on business. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
As you're speaking, I'm just thinking right now, somebody texted me this morning like, hey, what are you doing today? You know, and I was like, I wrote this whole to-do list of what I'm doing today. And I unconsciously did it to like, see what I'm doing. So as you're
Mhm.
speaking, I'm just like, Joanna, what was that about? You know, like I just said,
Well,
you know, whatever.
if I can jump in because I know you a little bit, I think you were just excited about your day and you wanted to share it.
You're so right. And I wonder though if the other person though buys it as like, now I need to one up Joanna. And I'm like, really? I don't
Mhm.
care. So I wonder
Yeah.
if that's happening as well, where women are like, we're doing this, but we think that we have to one up. That
Yeah.
is so
Maybe.
clear.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. But I have a whole to-do list all the time. You should see my to-do list. It's ridiculous.
And what if on our to-do list said, feel sexy today?
Mhm.
Today, I'm just
Yes.
going to feel sexy. Okay,
Mhm.
let's go into my favorite question with you. How many pleasure points do men have and how many do women have? Because this is phenomenal.
Oh man. So for men, I don't have a whole like number list. I know of at least 5 spots on the guy for pleasure.
And what are those?
And
Because I know everybody wants to know.
right.
They're going to be like, Joanna, ask her.
Right. Why you didn't ask her, Joanna? We need to know.
You
So
got to buy the
definitely,
book.
right, definitely the brain. So that's one
Is that what like
for
visual?
both men and women. So it can be visual because guys are mostly visual, but it's not always. So, but everybody can have an orgasm from their mind. So fantasizing, dreams, stuff like
Dreams.
that.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Brain. I would have never thought that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
your
is
brain is your biggest sex organ for
really?
men or women. Mhm.
What?
It's your biggest sex organ.
You're so
Yeah.
right, but it's like, duh. It's one of those
Mhm.
duh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And then, for men, there is, just right under the head of the penis, what we call the glands. Right under there is very sensitive, around this. There's open the whole circumference of it. And then on the underside of the penis, I'm trying to get my anatomy together. On the underside of the penis, right where the shaft meets the glands, is an especially sensitive spot. Um, then the shaft is not as sensitive, but as you go further down to the scrotum, right underneath the scrotum, um, if you lift up the
Mhm.
scrotum, there's a spot right there. And then on the perineum, so between the scrotum and the opening to the anus is another
Right there.
spot. Yeah.
Got it. Now, for men, if they're circumcised or not, does that make a difference in their pleasure?
It does. It
Mm.
does. And it definitely it depends. Like for some men, if they have that covering, the foreskin on,
Mhm.
it's another level of sensation
Okay.
versus if they don't have it, it's just it's different. But it's not necessarily a bad thing unless you know there's constriction or scarring or some other stuff that's
Mm.
happening.
I kind of think like the same thing with women in breast augmentation, and it might change their sensitivity to their nipples or
Mhm.
breasts like that.
It can, depending on how they do it. Yeah, it can.
Mhm. Okay,
Hmm.
now let's get into the so you know about 5 for men, how about for women?
Hmm. Yeah, at
Lean
least
in,
10.
lean in,
At least 10.
fellas, women, lean in.
Right, at least 10. So
At
the
least
brain
10.
again,
Yay, we
right?
have 10.
We have 10. Right? At least the
I'm going
brain,
to
at
share this
least,
with everybody. Copy and paste.
right, right.
Everybody
Please
copy
watch
and paste.
this.
Yes.
We're on a revolution to bring
Fast
more
forward to
pleasure
this
to the
part.
world.
We are changing the world. Okay.
Right, right. Start listening at 25:10.
My dad walked in right now. Oh my God, where'd he
Oh,
go?
wow.
Perfect timing.
Okay. Perfect timing. So,
There's the crap.
so the brain for the woman as well.
Amen.
The lips on your face.
But not men, the lips? Interesting.
So it can, but it's different. I think for women, it is more of a romance kind of thing with deep kissing and stuff like that. So yeah, like I'm not saying that a man can't enjoy it, but I don't know that a man would actually have an orgasm just from kissing on the lips.
We are more likely where we can. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
this is good. Okay.
The nipples and the breast for sure.
Are those
Then
considered one or considered two?
just one, just one.
You're all thinking it. They're gonna be like, do I
Right,
need
right,
that?
right, right, right. But I mean, if you could stimulate both and maybe do some
Two for
things.
one? Okay.
Yeah, 2 for 1. It'll be fine. So that's the stuff that's above the waist, and then below the waist, you have our friend the clitoris, where most women need clitoral stimulation in order to have an orgasm. But I think that's also because they don't know about all the other spots that are available.
Okay.
So there's the
Yeah, that was
clitoris.
in my teens.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It into most people's adulthood. Because again, they
So I got
don't
it pretty
know.
early. I mean, I got
Right.
the light.
Yeah, they don't know that there's other spots. There is the U spot, which is right underneath the urethral opening, and that's where your urine comes out when you go to pee. So the thought process is that stimulating there is what is happening when some women are able to squirt, because there's some glands that are on the sides of the urethra that are what's happening or what's stimulated to squirt. So the U spot. Mm-hmm. There's the G spot. Some doctors don't believe it even exists. I am not one of those doctors. The G spot is there. It
Not Dr.
works.
Brandye.
Stimulated. Right. Not Dr. Brandye. So the G spot, which is on the front wall of the vagina and just about this far. Can you see that far inside?
So
And
what
the
about
tissue
inch
texture
and a half?
feels different, about an inch and a half. The tissue texture feels different. Like
Softer?
if you, more spongy.
Okay.
It feels different because that's an area that actually, when you're aroused, more blood flow goes to that area as in addition to going to the lips and all that stuff, to that specific area too. And so it swells up a little bit. So it's a little bit more spongy. Then there's the A spot, which is much deeper inside, but still on the front wall of the vagina.
Okay. A spot?
A spot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the cervix is another spot, and that one is kind of hit. It's either or. Like some women really, really love it when their partner hits their cervix, and some women are like, "Oh my God, that hurts! Stop doing that."
That is I. Okay, so that's like the furthest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Well,
so
no, the K spot is the furthest.
Okay.
Because it's on the back wall of the vagina, but a little bit past the cervix.
Okay, so for females that are with a male and that are large, that's when it can hurt, when they're hitting that.
It can hurt either way. Like it's
okay.
You don't have to necessarily have a large partner. It can be positional.
Yeah.
Because there are certain positions where your partner can just get deeper.
Yes, and hit it. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there are some women though that do like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay, understood. All right.
Yep. And then there's the P spot, which is that perineal spot between the vaginal opening and the opening of the anus. And then there's the anus and the pleasure that comes from anal sex. So,
Mhm. So that was
so was
about
that 10? I think that was 10.
yeah. So ears or things like that are not in there?
No, but that's not to say that you can't. It's just those are not spots that you would actually be like, okay, stimulate your pinky finger and have an
Yeah.
orgasm. You know,
Wow.
not to say that you shouldn't try.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, try it. If you can do it, let me know.
That would be a
But
fun
I,
exercise to hit each one and see if
mhm,
you can have an orgasm from each
yeah,
one.
yeah.
When you work with clients, Dr. Brandye, how do you bring them through the arc? The arc that you had? Like, what the heck?
Mhm.
Do you give them homework? What if
Heck
they're
yeah.
single? How do they
Yes. Yes, they get homework
what's our
every
what's
week.
our
I'm,
home play? We
I'm a
call it home
doctor. We
play.
get homework. No, so we start off just identifying where the blocks are. And once we know that, then we can start to tailor the activities for what needs to happen. Um, I go through different, I guess, ways to cultivate energy, the sexual energy. We go through stuff that helps you to have great sex, whether you're with a partner or not. And you don't have to be with a partner to have coaching with me. We go through the things in the brain that you can do to activate your pleasure centers, because you can do that and
Yes.
it will totally change where you're going with your sex life.
Is that during
Um,
sex, or you're working with the brain for them to think about stuff before they
pre,
get there? Okay.
because a lot of the people who come to me are at the same stage of, I don't want to have sex, but I want to have sex. How can I make that transition and make that jump? Because it just seems so large of a chasm
A to
to
Z.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we're looking at what are the things in your life that you can do that don't take a lot of time, don't take a whole lot of effort, because like I said, ain't nobody got time for that, so that you can be in a space to be receptive for sex
Yeah.
and really receptive for pleasure. It's flipping the switch to be receptive for pleasure. And by default, almost, the sexual pleasure will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
And so the
about
homework stuff is journaling.
okay. Yeah.
All the time, journaling, exploring, because I have a whole diagram, and I have a whole section of the work where we talk about the different spots to stimulate.
And
And
is
so you
that
get
in
to
your
go
book?
home and play. The
Home play.
spots are in there. Yeah.
Okay. To
Yeah.
explore.
Hmm.
Okay. I was just thinking you create these journals and the front of the journal says, ain't nobody got time. That's the name of the journal. Girl, those would sell out.
I know.
Ain't nobody
That's
got
a good
time for that.
idea.
But you
Okay.
got time for the
Okay.
journal. Okay.
Right.
And what else? Well,
Mhm.
question that I'm thinking, what if the female or whomever, or do you work with males?
I don't work with males at this point, just with
Okay.
women. Hmm.
You're working with a female client and mostly heterosexual women. So then does it
Hmm.
matter? Curious.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, because it still boils down to the relationship you have with yourself first
Amen.
before you have a relationship with anybody else.
Understood. Okay. This is
Mhm.
really good. What about the clients that do say, well, I'm doing all this work, but it's my partner? Have you noticed that
Mhm.
the partner will like kind of shift and morph and change, or uh, that it's probably the partner? Because, side note, I've been with people where I'm like, I know I'm kind of doing the work, but I like what you said earlier, that it was the approach, but I didn't
Mm.
know how to articulate it without hurting their feelings.
Mhm.
So have you
Yes.
come across that? Because yeah,
Yes.
my gentleman, I love you, but you
Mhm.
get hurt. It hurts their feelings.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things that I like to say, about a part of my one of my programs, where we talk about how to talk to your partner and
That's
get them
good.
on board,
A
right?
workshop
And it's
difference.
Right, right. And it's like, okay, we're gonna talk about this so we don't have no hurt feelings and we don't have
Yeah.
no bruised egos.
Yeah.
Cause come on now. We know that's the case. And so yeah, there are gentle ways to
Yeah.
let your partner know what you like, what you don't like. There's verbalizing it, there's nonverbal communication that happens in
Mm.
even in sex while you're
Mhm.
having things happening. So there's a lot that you can do and be able to influence what is happening.
Influence.
So,
I like
mhm,
that because sometimes I felt like I was trying to influence
mhm,
and then
mhm.
too bluntly,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah, that could
frustrated,
happen.
and then yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it could be something just as simple as, if they're touching you in a spot or a way that you don't like, you just put your hand over them and move their hand, or, kind of show them how you want them to touch you on their hand so that they get the picture, they get the vibe and the energy. And if they don't, then afterwards you can, have a conversation. Just be like, babe, I really loved how you did X. Next time I'd really love it if you would do this with that instead, because this was awesome and I really love having sex with you.
That's the biggest thing I learned, Brandy,
Hmm.
is this. Oh, I love it when you do this, more of this,
Hmm.
more of that, and then you just guide them. Yeah.
Yep.
But before it'd be like,
Yep.
I didn't like this. I didn't like that. Poor
Like,
guys
can you
like
get it together? I don't like how you did this. That
it's
didn't feel good at
frustrating.
all.
Okay, everybody that's listening is like leaning in. I want more because I can never get enough of this. Where can everybody find you? I think it's
Um,
drbrandymd.com.
yes.
And
Yes.
very important, it's Brandy
Mhm.
with a
With
Y-E.
a Y-E. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Dr. Brandye MD, Brandye. Yeah, that's my website. That's kind of the go-to spot. You can find me on social media, Dr. Brandye MD as well. Although on IG, it's Dr. Brandye MD because somebody else has Dr. Brandye
How could she?
MD. I know, it's spelled the same way too. I'm like, what? Who
Wow.
are you? So
Ain't
whatever,
nobody got
whatever.
time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah.
Yeah, and then they can get your book there. And it's
Yes.
my oh
Mhm.
my.
My oh my, a
Yeah.
committed woman's guide to getting the great sex she deserves.
Woo. Yes.
Mhm.
I'm excited to get mine in the mail and start reading it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Are you gonna
coming.
have an audio? Have you thought of that?
So funny you should ask. I just recorded the audio 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
Yes.
Yes, because I'm an audio slash I like both.
Mhm,
Let's
mhm. Me
tie
too.
it
Me
in with
too.
words and read it and highlight and then listen.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
good.
So it's coming. It's coming.
Wow.
It's coming.
Okay. And you're going to be teaching tomorrow, if you're listening to this in real time, at Slay Gals, our
Mhm.
event, our 6 women event. We're each going to talk. And Dr. Brandy's going to talk for about 20 minutes about exactly
Mhm.
this, maybe go a little bit
Yes.
deeper. And here's the cool thing, because I'm a question and answers girl. I don't like a two-way street. At the end, she's going to be able to answer some questions. Have your questions ready, whoever's first. And so
Yes.
please sign up at thegetupgirl.net/Slay Gals. Sign up because you get to talk to Dr. Brandye herself. And please get her book. Follow her on
Mhm.
Instagram. Remember, it's a little dot after. It'll be in the show notes as well. And like her on Facebook and go to her website. It's a beautiful website. Yeah, it's really
Thank you.
well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anything else?
Awesome.
Would you like to say anything before we put a bow on this?
Just, you are deserving of pleasure. So go out there and receive it. Just receive it.
I'm just breathing that in. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you. This was such a contribution. And I know everybody watching, listening, it's a contribution to them too. Please, if there's something that you took away from Dr. Brandye today, screenshot this episode, tag her and myself on Instagram, and let us know what your takeaway was. Share it with other people so that they can go, oh my gosh, you need to get her book. Right? I
Yes.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
I'm going to explore those 10 spots.
Yes.
ASAP.
Please.
I
Because
have home play, everybody. Home. I don't like homework. I like home play.
Right. I like that. I might change it from homework to home play
Yeah.
because it is more of playing.
It does.
Yeah.
You say home play, people go, "What is that?" And they lean in rather than homework. You unconsciously kind of turn off. Thank you,
Right.
Dr. Brandye. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so incredibly grateful to you and to everybody listening. Share this with the world. And until next time, gals,